before we get into this interview, folks that are tuning in, I want y'all to do me a huge favor and open the portal to your mind, because what this is going to be is an eye-opening experience. I have yet to do a 1 minute in it, which I do on TikTok, of Funklore. But the first that you're going to hear from the radio is that it's a really dope juxtaposition between two things you wouldn't have seen a correlation of. One being the medieval fantasy genre, which is like crazy. If you're into like stuff like Skyrim, Lord of the Rings, all types of that kind of lore, it's definitely going to be your forte, especially if you're a hip-hop head. You'll dig funk, and funk is not just the genre. Like, you're thinking Parliament, you're thinking like George Clinton, you're thinking Isaac Hayes, all them greats. Nah, funk is a state of mind, bro. And this is what this brother Gigio brings to the table. So Funklore is a dope album. It's a dope concept, and I want to welcome the brother Señor Gigio to the show.
Thank you so much.
Thank
you for listening to the album too. Appreciate that.
Likewise, and to anybody. Really, like how I even got plugged into the album, because I work with Big Sean, who I didn't know went by B.I. Electric at the time, was telling me, yo, have you peeped out that new joint from Gigio? Like before he was about to start work. And I was like, nah, but I kept on seeing posts for it on IG, and like I seen videos. Like I remember one with you like starting as a tarot reader, like coming into it, and then you do performance shots, and I'm like, dang, this guy's going like above and beyond. So it's like I knew right then and there what you were capable of. So I was like, before I even checked out the video, I actually heard the song, and I was like, oh crap, Opio is on that track. So shout out to Hieroglyphics, you know what I mean? But I didn't even know that friggin' Big Sean himself produced the track, which I was like, damn, you know what? I could respect that. That it was like he gave more shine to you, and I was like, I dig it. It's like kind of that soulful kind of like vibe to it, and I was right into it for sure. I mean, I told you what my favorite track was for sure, which we'll get into later, but
right.
Yeah, let's get into it with the questions, man. You ready?
No doubt, yeah, please.
So originally I was going to call this 21 on 21 because we're on 21st Street.
Yeah.
I was only able to come up with 2/3 of the questions, so I was like, we'll call it 14 on 21.
Nice.
Yeah. So the first question that I am going to ask is, of course, in relation to Funklore. What is the folklore behind Funklore?
It's just like the idea is just about bringing everything into the new, into the present, into just where we're at right now. Because I'm of the mind, and I feel like, as a society, like we keep repeating certain narratives, and just kind of staying stuck in the past. And my idea with Funklore was to just bring everything up to speed where we're at right now, and just making it all relevant to the times that we're living in now, because it's a special time to be alive, and there's a lot of stuff to peep game on. And it's like you don't want to get caught up in the old and miss where you're at right now, and that's a lot of like my intention going into that idea.
Yeah, that's well said. So, for this one, how applicable is the album to everyday life, and how so?
Wow, that's a great question.
Told you.
I mean, for me, it's in my everyday life, it's very much implicable, it's relevant, but having imagination is important. Having curiosity is important. I think it's an important part of like just developing our minds, and then developing ourselves. So even some of the stuff like on the album that seems more abstract and more out there, like I think it's relevant in that, like, why not? We should open your minds to see different possibilities or potential of what could be or how do things actually work, you know? So that's where some of that stuff comes into play, you know, all the supernatural and, you know, mythological stuff.
Definitely. It's true to life too, like especially with Filipino superstitions.
Yeah.
A lot of our stuff is just like very applicable to everyday life. For us, it's animals.
Right, so right. Yeah.
I totally get that on that wavelength, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
I feel you.
So, okay. This is going to be, hopefully this isn't too hard of a question, because I don't like favoritism at all, especially like, you know, in different settings, you know. But this one in particular with just the album, which song was a challenge to write, and how did you overcome it?
I think the song that was like the biggest challenge to write and was the song "The Greatest Story Never Told." One, because the beat was crazy. Like, that's probably like, I mean, you know, the album goes crazy. You know, all the beats are not, I mean, you know, we have Celador sitting right here, right next to me. He's one of the main producers on the album. So, I mean, you know, what you just heard, that speaks for itself. But this particular one, this was the one instrumental that I got from Slice 9, from J Slice 9.
Shout out to
right?
Slice 9.
And it just was so crazy. It was just was so out there. And
he's a crazy dude.
Oh yeah,
so
I
totally get the vibe. Right
totally. But I knew that that's what he cooked up for me. I'm like, man, I got a Slice beat. Like, I'm gonna eat this, and and the thing that came to my head was like The Greatest Story Never Told, which was it just was like a huge undertaking of like, okay, let me think about all these things that I want to say about you know, our evolution as a species on this planet, life on this planet, you know, things of how we came about, you know, maybe lost histories, stuff that's not necessarily that we know as written history for sure, but it's stuff that's been talked about. And I also believe that even if it's not necessarily like documented, you know what I mean, like in text, you know, that it's stuff that we carry in our DNA, you know, that we still have access to that information. And so it's a big story, you know. It's a big story because I'm trying to take it all the way back to the beginning, you know what I mean? And then also just that's one part of it, and then also because I think it's such a big story that I didn't want it to be redundant, you know what I mean? So there's like 5 verses on the song, you know what I mean? So I got different choruses, I got different bridges on it. It's just heck of stuff going on. Yeah.
So yeah, speaking of redundancy, because I don't want to make this question feel like it's redundant in regards to the first one, is I wanted to dig deeper into it. Is where did you draw inspiration for the concept of the album?
A lot of places, you know, I mean, like, you know, like we could start right from the jump. Like you nailed it with just like the medieval kind of folklore, right? You know, I love the idea of folklore and folk and legend and just that whole genre, you know. So we could start right there, like, you know, very simply Knights of the Round Table kind of stuff, and just that kind of world. That might be, that's kind of like the main idea, you know. But it goes out and beyond, you know, with other stuff, you know, other things. Like there's some Egyptian, you know, we look at Egyptian mythology and spirituality in it as well, and then just everyday life in the Bay Area too, you know, which, I mean, it's kind of like all of us sitting here, like we live here, and I feel like after a while, like we forget like actually how dope and how special this place is, and just how mysterious it is too, you know. So I wanted to, you know, pay homage to that, you know, and the tradition of people coming here and making it what it is today, you know, all the way back to the 60s into now, you know.
And this is going to be like a question I just thought of right now, is what would be some recommendations from that genre of medieval, like whether it be books or movies, shows, what kind of medium would you recommend folks to check out in regards to that genre?
Well, I mean, I just, like just starting with King Arthur, you know what I mean, and just that story and everything connected to it, King Arthur, Merlin, Knights of the Round Table. I will say that I just watched a movie recently. This is after the fact that Funklore is out, but The Green Knight is really good. Okay. Peep The Green Knight. That one's really good.
I'm gonna have to check that one out.
Yeah.
So, in your point of view, what is the correlation from the genres? And again, don't mean to sound redundant, but just to like reiterate, what the correlation is between the genres of those two specific ones. Like, and especially with hip hop culture,
right?
For those that don't know, because some folks could add more to the imagination.
Right, like you mean like the genres of like that medieval stuff to hip hop.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Lay it on them, brother.
I mean, I feel like in hip hop, it's all about the journey of hip hop. It's all about finding yourself. You have the medium of all these different elements from b-boying, graffiti, and DJing and MCing, and then all the extra stuff that how it's grown, and we have this medium to find ourselves and to find our true voice, and kind of when you jump into it in the very beginning, you kind of have to fake it a little bit. You got to kind of copy the cats who you think are dope, but the goal is that somewhere along the way you find your own style, you find your own unique voice and how you relate to others. And when I look at the medieval stuff, all those different stories, it's the same thing, like the story of King Arthur and Merlin and all that. It's like it's not about like going and killing a dragon and this and that. It's really the heart of it is just about somebody finding themselves, you know what I mean, and finding what their true nature is in a world where everybody's trying to tell you what you are and what you aren't, you know what I mean, and actually figuring it out for yourself. And that's really what those stories, I think, are meant to teach.
Oh, definitely. And so, hey, I love like how we just tackling these ones. Definitely, like, I've always admired your imagination. So
Thank you.
Pick your brain. That's dope, man. So, segueing into a question from the homie T Venom, who I mentioned before.
Yes, shout out T Venom.
T Venom, Satellite Records, or Soul Satellite Records to be exact. His questions in his exact words is, what came first? So he's going with a chronological question for the Funklore project. Was it the visual art or the music, and how did one impact the other?
It was the music. It's all everything for me always starts with the music. It's always the music first, and with this particular one, like the first 4 beats that I had to jump it off was from Architect, and like that first one that I wrote was A Knight's Quest to Quest, and that song kind of like set me off to create the rest of the album. And the art always follows the music.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Art imitates life.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you Venom for that question. Thank you Gigio for the answer.
For sure. Thank you.
Yeah. So, segueing into a new topic, we're gonna get into like I know you just actually like brought New Life a couple years back, right?
He's 14 months. He's 14 months now.
Close to 2 years. That's crazy. So.
Yeah, it's crazy, super crazy, bro.
It's like they gonna go quick, man. Like,
yeah, he's getting there.
But my question in regards to that topic is, for having Montez in your life now, how has becoming a father influenced your artistic endeavors?
It's made me more balanced and more grounded, and also just more, it's definitely made me more motivated, like puts everything into perspective of just kind of like kicking stuff into like a higher gear, like, oh, okay, like I'm really doing this for real now that I got my little dude here. And also just like it's just really teaching me like about what to make time for, like what it's teaching me my priorities. So that's those are some of the many blessings that come with being a dad, you know, at least on the practical end, in terms of like my creativity, like it's always the same, you know.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And then for family as well, like shout out to ZZ.
Yes.
Really dope peoples. If you need buttons, hit her up. She makes some dope buttons.
Yep.
Yeah, like as a family of artists,
Mm-hmm.
all right, because she does the buttons. I know she does other things, but I just primarily know her for the buttons.
Yep.
You be doing all sorts of like mediums, which
Yep.
we're getting into. What would you like to see in the future for your children in regards to like if they want to do arts or whatever they want to pursue? What would you like to see like for the future for them as a father?
That's really cool. I'm excited to see what what Montez and maybe his future siblings, maybe a little sister, has in store. You know, yeah. I mean, I guess that's. I'm here to just be a good observer and a container for them, you know, like maybe me growing up being a creative kid and not necessarily getting the outlet or maybe the attention I needed. Oh, yeah. It'll be cool to see how I can serve my child in that way, you know, but yeah, I feel pretty strongly about, I think he's going to be creative. Yeah. You know what I mean? Just,
do you see any traits like coming from him that like you kind of catch like early on, or?
Well, you know what? Now that you mention it, like so he's right now where he's at. Like he's talking a little bit. He's talking on certain little things, certain little cues. He's doing certain words. But one of the things that you know like. Amazed me was like before he's really been talking or doing words was like certain songs that come on like you know on like this children's songs, you know.
Yeah.
He's coming in and finding like the little part and doing it with it, like the whatever it's like if it's a la 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 la, and he knows it's gonna come in. He knows it's gonna come in on that time. And he'll do the la 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 la. I'll be like, wait, what? Or like Baby Shark. He would come in with the do 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 do. You'll hear him, and then you'll hear him like do do do. So he's like, he's jumping in on the music.
Wired.
Yeah. So he's been with music already from the gate, and that's also been one of the things. It's like there's certain things that I know that I can play him that you know when he's fussy that I know, and a lot of it will be music that will like that's chill crazy. Him out.
Yeah, that's dope because it's like still at that age, especially from studying childhood development like back in junior college.
Yeah,
at City. He's at that point where he's like still like just gaining as much energy, like as much knowledge as he can through the tabula rasa. So he's at that blank slate, but he sounds like he's on the right track, man. You're definitely raising him right, and I'm like, hey, man, compliments to you as a father.
Thank you, bro.
Man,
thank you, bro.
Yeah, no worries. So next question is in regards to seeing into the future. All right. I mentioned this before, like getting on is tell us how you got your start in tarot reading.
Sure. And for me. Me getting into tarot was like I was actually getting into tarot like at the same time that I was like deciding like okay, I'm gonna quit my job and just be an artist full time and figure out and not even just be an artist full time but just be me full time and figure out how to live day to day and just you know learn how to live on a different rhythm. And the tarot came in at the same time, and it just was a you know I learned how to use it as a tool, especially like in that time when pretty much everybody in my environment that I knew you know was like don't quit your job, what are you doing, like don't do that. Like I would resort to the tarot and I would turn it and I was like you know I keep getting the signs like I think I feel strongly about this because I felt a connection there, and I started from there, and I just kind of learned how to, you know, live by it and just use it in a practical way in my everyday life. And honestly, like when I first was using it and using it, I never imagined that I would read for people. It was never like my vision to be like, oh, I'm a read tarot for people, like, and I'm gonna make this a hustle or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, actually, the opposite. Like, some people would say that to me, like, hell no, I'm not reading for nobody. I'm not doing that. But you know, it's just like, it's just the journey, bro. We just keep growing. You know, we keep growing, and sometimes when the call really comes in, you answer the call, you know. Definitely. So, and
I know I'm gonna have to call you one of these days for like that kind of spiritual advice and everything, you know?
Oh, it's all good. I'm here to serve. It's all good.
Definitely. So hey, man, that's dope. So going into another medium that you practice as well, because I said I wanted to tackle a good amount of them.
Yeah.
And this is a segue from the reading onto a different kind of literature. Tell us about your work as a comic illustrator. I just want to get it clear, like illustrator / writer, or
yeah, it's a comic book illustrator and writer. Yep.
Is there any other, like, are you like the colorist as well?
Yep.
Ooh, okay. So like, tell us the process of like how that is, especially creating like, I mean, I'm like a huge like Marvel and like other offshoots of like some DC, but mostly Marvel and all those other good stuff like IDW, Image. How is the process for you in that realm?
It's been I mean, it's tedious, but it's something that I have to do. You know, it's something that like I feel strongly like I have to do it. So that like I've done 2 comic books, like the one I just put out right now. This is the second one, and the other one I put out in 2018, and I also released that with an album as well. Oh, and that was the first one I did. And
you still have copies of that one?
No, not at this time. But I'll have to bring it back eventually. You know, it'll happen.
Let me know, man.
Yeah,
I'm a comic guy, so yeah.
Right on. Definitely. But yeah, no, it's just something. Just like a lot of the stuff that I do, it's something that I feel like I have to do, or stuff comes to me in dreams, and I feel like I'm guided. You know, I get a message to do that. You know, like let's say when I first did Heroes of the Gold Rush, that was the album in 2018, and then I had the comic book for it, 3 Doors. But like I had already had the album like done, mixed and mastered, and then me and Mr. Clean were planning like a dual release where we were both going to release our solo albums on the same day and do a thing. And that was like, you know, like maybe just a few months out, and I had this dream saying like you know I actually it was actually in the dream Z-Man came to me. Z-Man came to me in the dream, and he was like, you need to make a comic book to release with your album.
That's crazy.
And it was like, but he like appeared to me like Buddha, bro. Like it was like the like
I can see that.
It was super spiritual. And I woke up and I was like, damn, I'm making a comic book. And I remember like I like hit him up and I told him, I was like, bro, like you came to me in a dream and told me to make a comic book and release with my album. And he was like, oh yeah, do that. but yeah, and that one was a little different because at that time, like, you know, like I said, like I didn't have a kid. That was 2018. One thing that Montez has done for me is just teach me balance and teach me when to stop, and teach me how to take my time doing stuff. But like that comic book I did in 4 weeks, and not in a healthy way. I don't recommend. You know what I'm saying? I would say like I did like 2 weeks straight, like night and day. You know what I'm saying? Little to no rest, drawing and writing it, and then 2 weeks coloring it, just hardcore. And then sending it out to get pressed right in time for the album release show. Okay. But I already had the CDs done, you know, for the album. But this last one, it took me a lot more time to like I still, you know, got it done pretty, I guess, in a relatively a quick amount of time, but it took me a little bit longer. And it's not my favorite thing to do. Nah. You feel me? But it's like, but when I'm done with it, I love it. You know what I mean? Like when I'm done with the process, and I see what it was that I did. I'm like, okay, now I know why I had to do this. Now I know why I did it. You know, it's a different. The art modality is a little bit different for me than making music. Like for me, making music is just like, it's like breathing. Like I need to do it. Like freaking, it's just, I love it. But doing the art is a little bit more tedious. It's more.
It requires a lot of pulchritude.
It does.
Sure.
It does. You know, and it's like sometimes it's a. I don't know. It's a little. It's like physical labor.
My takeaway from that was from contrary from the first and the second one. Were you trying to outdo the first one?
I think I was, honestly. Yeah, I mean, you know, a small part of. I wouldn't have done it if I didn't think it was going to be doper, but yeah, but.
Now I'm looking forward to reading Super Psychic Katie versus the Mummified Pharaoh for sure.
Right on, man. Thank you.
Yeah, Super Psychic Katie I think is going to be next to Spider-Man for me, because that's the case that I have right there, Spider-Man, you know. So yeah. So if there's an iPhone 8 or whatever iPhone I have at the time case of Super Psychic Katie,
I need to get some Super Psychic Kitty stickers or something. Yeah,
ooh, yeah, hook it up
okay.
when you get those, man.
Yep,
definitely. So yeah, so speaking of that comic, what is the story behind the second that you've created, Super Psychic Katie versus the Mummified Pharaoh? Yeah,
it's pretty cool, man. Like, so one, you know, the idea, and this is like how it shows you like how it coincides with the album. I've got 2 songs on the album where I introduced 2 characters. One is Super Psychic Kitty, and that song is produced by Celador.
Hey.
And then I got Mummified Pharaoh.
Oh yeah, that one's a crazy one.
Yeah, and both tracks are back to back. You know, they're kind of like they both peek into like, you know, the Egyptian, you know, mythology and mysticism, and I was just like, man, I got to bring them. All right, I'm going to do a comic book. I knew I was going to do a comic book about Super Psychic Kitty, but then I was like, what's she going to do? Okay, I need to bring her together with Mummified Pharaoh. So basically, it's a lot of stuff that goes on in it, but essentially they team up and they kind of they solve a mystery. They go solve a mystery. And there's a lot of stuff involved in it. There's like past lives, reincarnation. There's all kinds of shape shifting, time traveling. It's a lot of different stuff that goes into it, you know.
Man, it's like Marvel meets H.G. Wells meets. I don't even want to throw like more. We could go on and on about it, but of course we got to keep the ball rolling. But I'm looking forward to checking it out.
Yeah, let me know what you think too when you keep it. Yeah,
definitely. I'll throw a review on it, man.
Oh, for sure. That's what's up. That's what's up.
That's what I'll be doing on TikTok if y'all are on TikTok.
Tight.
Yep. And yeah, like, and then speaking more on the art, I didn't even know you were an animator too. That was crazy. So I know that's even more of a tedious process than like even the illustration aspect or just the comic aspect. But what was the inspiration for the video of New Narrative? Both musically and visually. Yeah.
Well, so like musically, like the New Narrative, I would say that like when it ties into Funklore, that is kind of like where we. It's almost like, okay, here's this song right here. This is the reason why we're doing Funklore. You know what I mean? Like it's almost like the whole album. You know, we have all these different stories and all these different concepts and stuff and everything, and then we get to the New Narrative, and it's like, boom, here's the reason why this is important and why we're making this kind of music. You know, we touch on everything that's going on in society today. You know, like that's kind of like the more like song that's really speaking directly to what's going on, you know. And then visually, I wanted, like, I had the idea to, like, you know, I start out with The Simpsons, you know, like a family that's kind of like my version of The Simpsons, you know.
Yeah, I saw that one.
There's a lot of crazy stuff in it.
Like a lot of references.
There's a lot of references in it.
It's like better than how Family Guy throws references.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? With the cutaway gags and everything, you know.
they're watching. They're all gathered. Okay, yeah. So there's a family of Simpsons. They all are on the couch, and every single one of them has like a relationship to a screen. So the father is relating to the television screen, the mother is relating to the mirror, the daughter is relating to the iPhone, and the son is relating to like a Game Boy.
Oh, nice.
You know, and
it's true to life right there too.
Yeah, and it's just like it's almost like there's almost like two things that are going on where like at some point while every single one of them is watching, you know, or just engaging with their medium with their medium of screen, they're basically seeing the truth for what it is, and also seeing the confusion too. Like they're kind of like being shown both things, and everybody's just kind of like, wait, what? You know, it's kind of like the veil is being lifted, you know, through the screen. And one of the things that's like a streamline throughout the music video is it's being kind of like delivered like in a news format. So it's not CNN, it's TNN, or like CNN. The new narrative. You know what I mean?
Oh my god, that's crazy. Oh man,
there's a lot of stuff going on in it.
No, from that I see, yeah, it was crazy. But I liked how they're. It's kind of like a Rick and Morty where they just add attention to detail about like everything, and it's just dope. That was dope about like how it was for me. Like watching it from an audience perspective, I just see it, and I'm like, dang, like this guy's going above and beyond with the animation and stuff. So
thank you, bro. Appreciate that.
Definitely. So this one is going to be a segment into what I call the human serviette.
Oh my god.
Okay. So as I mentioned before, I told a coworker of mine at the Independent. He goes by the name of Ted. Cool dude.
Yeah.
Very he's a very stern guy, but once you get around to know him, he's a pretty cool dude. Skater guy. He works for one of the magazines. That's why I was like, I wonder if like either you or Taste Nate, his name rings a bell. But I told him that I go into ciphers and all that, and he mentioned both you and Taste Nate, and I guess you guys were sharing him a concept of an album. And I believe, because I know you're an Aries, Taste Nate.
I'm a Scorpio.
You're a Scorpio?
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Because I was referring to Hero of the Throne.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what I was
okay, it says Harry's on there.
Harry's.
I know. Some people thought it said Aries. Yeah, Harry's.
I'm glad I got that. So Scorpio.
Yep.
At least you're a Scorpio, unlike Drake, man.
Yep.
But okay. So with Taste Nate, he was mentioning something about Capricorns. He kind of segue said unicorns.
Oh.
And they were obsessed about this particular artist. Can you think of who the artist is at the top? Tip of your tongue. He's an oldie but goodie.
He's an oldie but goodie, huh?
A late artist, yeah.
A late artist. Somebody who's passed away.
Yeah.
Do I get any clues about what genre? I know it's a he. He's a
he, yeah. In regards to pronouns. A little bit of face paint, maybe like
face paint.
Stripes, or not. Like lightning bolts at the side of the eyes.
Oh, you talking about David Bowie?
Yep,
that's my dude.
I wish that I actually I wish I went to Amoeba and got something for you. That's why I would have done that to give a nod to Nardwar. But what can you tell me about the Capricorns obsessed with David Bowie album?
The Capricorns obsessed with David Bowie album? Yes. I don't remember that one.
Oh man.
I don't remember, but I'll tell you that when me and Nate were kicking it and doing stuff, we'd do that was one of the best parts about doing stuff with Nate was just that we just were mostly cracking jokes a lot of the time. And anytime we got to be around everybody was the show never stopped pretty much. It wasn't just about the music, it just was nonstop gag reel pretty much. And anybody who was in our presence was like, all right, we're going to entertain him. So we might have said some out of pocket shit to whoever Ted was yeah, we're going to make a freaking Capricorn unicorn David Bowie album. We might have,
my God.
And and mind you too, I was experimenting heavy with mushrooms at the time, so so my imagination was very wild at that time.
I don't blame you. I'd be on the same wavelength. But if that album were to come out, I would definitely check that out. Just because I'm this is some new shit that they're adding to hip hop.
Well, you know what? I mean? Nate is off the hook and he does stuff like that. Like he will do some like he will like pick like an artist and like make a very interesting and kind of like abstract connection to the artist, and then make something weird out of it, but then dope too. Like I know he did like a Karen Carpenter album. Okay. He did an album like I'm trying to think of the dude's name. It's not Sonny Liston. It's like somebody else, but he'll do stuff like that. So that would be something that's like his bag to do. You know.
Definitely.
Yep.
So, hey, man, that's interesting question, right? Like, you won't get that anywhere else. And so, shout out.
That was a Nardwuar question.
Shout out to Ted from the Independent. If you ever see that guy, the guy that yanks the drinks off you, that's who it is. But
okay.
Cool peoples, man. Second to last question.
Yeah.
So, what is the next move for Señor Gigio?
Next move for Señor Gigio. Well, one, tomorrow night we're going to go rock this show. We're going to give the people what they want, give the people what they need. And after that, I got like, I'm finishing up another animated music video for Random Acts of Nonconformity. Oh. And that one actually, it's like there is some cartoon, there is some like some of my like illustrated cartoon in it, but I'm actually doing more of like collage art animation in it. So that's a lot of fun. But otherwise, like in August, I'm going on tour, baby. I'm hitting the road.
Are you going statewide?
I'm going up to Oregon and up to Seattle, Washington. Okay. So right now I got a couple days booked. I'm going to be I want to say, I know I'll announce the date soon, but it's going to be in August. I'm going to be hitting Medford, Oregon. I'm going to be hitting Portland, Oregon. I'm going to be hitting Seattle, Washington, and still locking in dates too.
Hey, if you need somebody from Bellingham,
okay,
I got a homie for you.
Yeah, please.
Shout out to Mustafa. So
yeah, connect me, please.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, he's cool peoples. And then shoot, if you need any dates here in the city, I got a few people for you.
Okay, that's what's up. Good to know.
Definitely.
Right on, bro.
We'll talk business after
yeah,
that.
For sure.
And yeah, definitely. And last question. I mean, goes kind of full circle, and on the concept of redundancy, tell them about tomorrow night. Oh yeah, well, tomorrow night, it's going to be an important night for me, and I think for everybody involved. Tomorrow night's going to be very inspirational. And that's what I think is exciting about it. I'm really stoked on all the artists who I have like lined up on this bill. Like every single one of them has been putting in work, and has a long track record in one way or another. You got somebody like B.I. Electric, Big Sean, who's a San Francisco Bay Area hip hop legend. Shout out Ward Stiff,
and still does it, and is still fresh to this day. Still comes fresh. So I'm really excited about him doing his beat set, and also my boy Celador right here, who Celador has been connecting the dots from the Bay Area to Modesto to Fresno, and he's been a solid dude from the moment I've met him, and he's incredibly talented. I mean, this album is important to me. Like doing this album is important to me, and that's why I wanted to do something fresh. Like, okay, I don't want to just be all rap. Like I want to give the homies who contributed music to my project like a chance to do their thing too. And so it's great for Celador to you know what I mean, like show what he does as a producer, because cats should see it and should hear it, and they will feel it. And then my boy Isaiah Mostafa, who is a young talented dude from Berkeley. He's multi-talented producer, and he sings. He's like he can rap his ass off, but he actually sings incredible. Like he's like, to me, he's like I say this and I will continue to say this. He's like the male version of Sade if she lived in the Bay, or she was from the Bay and was born in the mid to late 90s. And my boy VJ Gabi, and he's somebody who maybe not a lot of folks know, but he's a super community oriented dude, but like an incredible artist. Like he's been prolific, he's been very prolific, making just dope producer, dope songwriter. He's very spiritual, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to bring him on too. Was like, okay, maybe not everybody knows like what he does, but I want people to know what he does. You feel me? Like, 'cause I want that message out there, that spiritual message, and the vibe, the musicianship.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it too.
Yeah,
it's like you're not just putting people to put on. There's also something to it. Like, just internally. Yep. What I fucks with heavily. And
I have a connection with everybody too. Non Fiero. Mm-hmm. He's somebody who's been, he's been killing it, on so many different levels. One, people would be most familiar with him, like with his track record and battle rap. He's been battling in King of the Dot and all the major like battle rap leagues, and going toe to toe with like the best of them. And one thing I've always appreciated about him in battle rap is that he's always been humorous. You know what I mean? Like he's had his own style, and he's always been funny, and at the same time very clever, and has never come off corny, has never come off like weak for being humorous or whatever. He's just being himself.
And that's a skill right there.
Yeah. Man. But as a rapper too, like as a recording artist, he does. It's he's in his own pocket, and so I think that's something that he's trying to do more of, is like be more on his just actual MC shit, not just battling fools. And he's from West Oakland. Okay. And then we got Curbside, the duo Professor Gable and Cy 4.
Oh, that's Professor Gable?
Yep.
Oh, yep. Snap. Okay.
So you already know what to expect with them. They're the high level MCs, high level lyricists. They're going to be bringing.
They're killing it.
They're. It's nothing to them. It's nothing to them. And 1 a.m.
Yeah, Cy4 is one of my he's technically a neighbor because we're in the same area.
Oh, okay, that's what's up. Yep, and then 1 a.m. is performing, and she's a good homie. I've been working with her for the last couple years.
I know you did a Complex with her, right?
Yeah, we did Complex together. Nice. We did a couple tracks, and we've been doing shows and just building a relationship. And she's a really great performer and just good people, and then plus she's representing for the ladies too. Had to make sure the ladies are seen and represented. And
she's dope too. She's dope.
It's going to be an inspiring night. It's going to be a free show, so pull up. It's going to be at 7th West in Oakland, and 6 p.m. to midnight. And for everybody listening here in San Francisco, if you don't have a whip, 7th West is just right there by West Oakland BART station. It's like on the same block practically.
I was going to ask that too.
Yep.
Is BART accessible?
Yep.
So. No excuse. And gas prices is expensive, y'all. And
for my Filipino folk listening too, they serve Filipino food at the venue too. Ooh. So there you go.
As long as there's no pork, man.
Hey, I don't know about that.
If they got that option, that option for sure.
No pork.
It ain't even gonna be a halal as long as it's no haram. You know what I mean? So
yep.
Definitely.
I feel it.
Other than that, yeah, those are all the questions. That's the interview.
Word. Thank you.
Are we ready to get into some music?
Yeah, let's do it.
Right. So we got 2 exclusives, and we're about to perform it. Let's get set up. Here we
go. Yeah. So I'm about to do 2 songs, and since my boy Celador is in here, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do 2 Celador tracks. And one of these tracks I'm doing live tonight. It's just special for here. I won't be doing it tomorrow night, and I don't know when I'll do it again.
And that's actually one of my fave joints too. So
yeah,
that's why I had to put it on there.
And the other one I will do live tomorrow night. I'll be doing Super Psychic Kitty.
Let me know when it's wrong. Yeah.
Yeah.
But what's this first track gonna be right here?
Let's do Super Psychic Kitty first.
Super Psychic Kitty.
Yeah.
Right. Let's wait for the camera to roll.
All right.
So, all right, let's do Super Psychic Kitty.
Yeah.
Produced by Celador. Let's do it.
She's a real cool cat, and she knows right where it's at. Yeah, come on, baby. I got food for you, baby. Here we go, baby. Yo, yo. This goes out to witches, the wizards. You know them cool, crazy, chill, ill, mystical figures. Dig if you will. A couple dope lyrics to twist you, dedicated to my little familiar with the whiskers. Make her presence known like spirits who enter. So I'm feeding her fish and chicken dinner. Feed the cat, keep her coming back. She a killer. All black, treat her like a Mac. Got my super psychic kitty. You know it's real cool when she riding with me. Always all cool when she sliding, feel me. Yeah, that's my super psychic kitty. Yo, telepathy, she senses me. I feel an alchemical chemistry developing. She hunts, she finds things. She knows what she wants. She runs with the wildlings. Listen, muggle, your cat ain't like mine. When I'm in trouble, my cat is a lifeline. I was shit out of luck in the Mojave. She opened up a portal to find me. I got my super psychic kitty. You know it's real cool when she riding with me. Always all cool when she sliding, feel me. Yeah, that's my okay. Third verse. Yo, some thugs too gangster for the pest friendship. Yo, domestic cats go back to ancient Kemet, where they were kept as more than pets. They didn't just control the pests, they patrolled the whole ordinance. And they kept evil spirits at bay, neutralized bad vibes and cleared it away. Some think it's a weird kind of thing. You a muggle for show, ho. Here's what I say. Super psychic kitty. You know it's real cool when she riding with me. Always all cool when she sliding, feel me. Yeah, that's my super psychic kitty. Yeah. That's right, y'all. For all you cool cats, all you smooth cats, all you dangerous cats, don't be late when it's supper time. Boom.
I always wanted to do that.
Yeah.
Tell him the next joint, Gigio.
And this next track is called All Types of Shrapnel. Yeah. Celador with the keys to the Celadors, providing the gateways, open up to, okay, whatever. Hey, yo, all types of shit can happen and it will. You won't like the shit, but it's happening still. Ill wills manifesting as a challenge for the real. So turn your talent into skills. We balancing the scales. In the very, very, very near future, there's way more in store. Let's take it back, my bad. Fooled you. That won't happen tomorrow. Yeah, let's do it. Okay, we're doing it for real, for real. Let's do it. Yeah. Celador with the keys to the Celadors. All types of shrapnel. Yeah. All types of shit can happen and it will. You won't like the shit, but it's happening still. Ill wills manifesting as a challenge for the real. So turn your talent into skills, yo. In the very, very near future, there's way more restored than just consumer upgrades on your mobile device of the global warming for A-Gore. That's already the norm in your vape pens. Get the vapors, there will be great wars. Civil wars and race wars, info wars and space wars, planetary battles to claim and take more resource, intergalactic black market traders, harvest and slave labor, earthly trade tours to interdimensional patrons who pay tons for K-sons and daughters of Mother Nature, sprung out humanity's tapeworms. Say no more. Speaking of, there will be plagues galore. Cancer shall exceed stage 4 out the same labs where HIV and AIDS was forged. But they say it's from the force, so they cut down the source, divorce you from a divine state. So we shape in strange forms. Monsters will be born, undead zombies with face sores, return of the dinosaurs, Jurassic Parks with tourists of all sorts. All types of shit can happen and it will. You won't like the shit, but it's happening still. Ill wills manifesting as a challenge for the real. So turn your talent into skills. We balancing the scales, yo. Time loops and glitching in the matrix, failures in math communication, black magic witches manipulating the population, the sacrifice of identities and bodies and make sanctum for beings as alien. Birth of a robotic nation, simulation stimulating sensations, artificial imitation, genetic cloning, engineering, franken derangement, mutations, overnight quantum game changing, people disappearing, encampment, entertainment, or will it be randomly phantom stainless, no traces or foul play or evidence of anyone miss, erase endless languages. Landmasses wipe clean off the planet's face. New moons rise, spontaneous, the fall of constellations. Enthralled with our own abominations, the elements will make shift, defying our conditioning and education of what makes sense. In the days when mages and sages are drug-induced mental patients, the young know the light, get wasted on tainted shit. All types of shit can happen and it will. You won't like the shit, but it's happening still. So turn your talent into skills, cause we balance in the scales. Child, these are the facts. Economy shall collapse. Walls will crumble along with the leaders who keep them intact. When we finally have so-called freedom, the people react violent out of the seat for the past. No peace treaty shall last. Corporation will rise to enterprise every inch of our lives, cause they privatized our minds. And sacred data, they've been gathered while your brains were scattered, worrying about shit that don't matter. So keep your memories on backup. All probabilities and possibilities the masses can fathom with one collective mind we can imagine from will happen. These words ain't typical, cynical, nor biblical. Only the pure heart will rise above and find themselves in the highest form of love, expressed between two individuals as a ritual of divine pinnacle. Yeah.
Word.
All types of shit can happen, and it will, folks, if you haven't noticed in 2022. It's wild, baby.
Ooh-wee. Señor Gigio in the building.
Thank you. Word.
Yeah. So definitely, man. Thank you guys for coming through.
A.K.aye, thank you, bro. thank you for continuing to do you and staying true to hip-hop and staying true to the Bay. All these years, because it's been a minute. Because I know, I feel like the first time I met you was 2011.
Yeah,
and it was like, I think it was a scratch fight thing too. It was like, yeah.
I remember because you was like busting out singing and stuff. I was like, oh, snap! I don't know what to expect, but it was dope, man.
Yep. So it's been. I mean, that's over 10 years later. So I see you, bro.
Likewise.
Yep.
Other than that, yeah, man. We'll play some tunes out.
For sure.
I always close out with one thing, and it's like to the listeners out there, for my late mother. We have on my link bio over on my IG, there is a donation to a organization called Cannon Keep. That was her community before the time of her passing. Really, before the time when she was like, she wasn't as mobile and she wasn't getting hit hard with the COVID. But in honor of her memory, like there's that link in the bio, and if y'all are able to donate whatever you can, as little as $1, $2, $5, whatever it may be, in honor of her memory, just like donate to that organization. And I'm gonna plug it every end of the show. And definitely, thank you guys. That's our time. And definitely Mind Over Beats Radio, Beatnik, Señor Gigio, Celador, Jerico behind me, one of my day ones as well. I'm your host, a.k.aye.